delicious morsels. They go down into the inner parts of the body. The word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
How many of you have ever served on a jury? Wow, good number of you. Two of the cornerstones of our democracy are voting and serving on a jury. Recently, I had the privilege of doing my part as a citizen of our country, and during the jury selection process, one of the attorneys wrote on an easel this. It's on the screen. Verdict equals evidence plus the law. As a jury, we were only to consider the evidence presented and the law as interpreted by the judge. We were not permitted to consider anything else. What else is there? Well, we were not allowed any bias to enter our thinking. We were not allowed any prejudice or firmly held opinions that would influence our decision. In the book of Proverbs, in the 18th chapter, we read, "Fools find no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing their opinion. The mouth of fools is their ruin, their lips are a trap for their lives. The words of gossip are like choice snacks. They go down to the inmost parts. Like all that Thanksgiving food goes down to the inmost parts of our bodies." All this is to say that words matter, attitudes matter. The ability to hear or see something and not be quick to judge is the mark of a spiritually wise person. Let me repeat that. The ability to hear or see something and not be quick to judge is the mark of a spiritually wise person. Now, both of the attorneys in that courtroom talked about the McDonald's coffee case of 1992. Do you remember that? Some of us are old enough to remember that. A woman spilled a cup of McDonald's coffee in her lap and sued the company and was awarded $640,000. And for most people, it was an example of a broken legal system, a frivolous lawsuit. And I remember joining that whiny bandwagon. Really? A woman wins a lawsuit because her coffee was too hot? The two attorneys in that jury trial used this as an example of what it means to suspend judgment until all of the facts are revealed. An initial judgment against this woman about the coffee appeared to be a no-brainer. But, they asked, did we know that this woman was 79 years old? Did we know that she had placed the coffee between her legs in the passenger seat? Did we know that McDonald's had a practice of selling their coffee at 180 degrees higher than anyone else because their customers wanted it hot, not then when they arrived at their workplace? Did we know that McDonald's knew that their coffee had scalded others, but decided that it was in their best business interest to please the majority of their coffee drinkers who wanted it hot when they got to work? Did we know, these attorneys asked us, that the 79-year-old woman who was burned spent 8 days in the hospital undergoing skin grafts, followed by 2 years of medical treatments? Wow, we did not know all of these facts, and yet we all had likely judged this woman. Can you think of a time when you jumped on the judgment bandwagon without knowing all of the facts? A father with 3 young children entered a city subway train. The kids began to act up, picking on each other, running around, yelling. The other passengers began to be annoyed because their father was not doing anything about their behavior. And it went on for a while until one passenger finally spoke to the dad. "Your children are misbehaving and bothering your other passengers. Why aren't you doing something about it?" And the dad, who seemed to wake up from a daze, replied, "Oh, I'm so sorry. We just came from the hospital where their mother just died. I guess they don't know how to deal with it. Haven't we had this kind of experience? When we witness people behaving in a certain way and we jump to a judgment before knowing all the facts, is this an enjoyable way to live? I mean, I wish I knew why we seem to be so quick to judge people. I don't enjoy being a judgmental person, do you? In today's high-tech world, there is a place where we humans learn how to judge others. I'm talking about social media sites like Facebook. Now, I see a positive and negative side of Facebook. On the plus side, it helps me keep up with what's happening in your lives. You go on a trip to Hawaii, post some pictures. Next time I see you in church, I can ask you about your trip. Facebook has helped me stay in touch with dozens of my former students and youth group members. I love that part of it. But there is another sinister aspect of social media that is contributing to the deep divisions in our country, and it has to do with dualistic thinking and our increasing inability to hold in our minds two opposing viewpoints. And this is where that one verse in Proverbs applies. Think about social media when you hear this word. Fools find no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing their opinion. That's in the Bible. Isn't this what we see in social media platforms today? People are uninterested in the facts, it seems, or any kind of understanding, but they are interested in sharing their biased opinions. And this is because we have already judged a situation, or we've judged an idea, we've judged a social issue. For example, if I decide that illegal immigrants are here in this country to steal our jobs and commit crimes, then this judgment colors my thinking on any possible solution or idea related to immigration reform. Listen to what Richard Rohr, a Franciscan monk from New Mexico, writes. Everything has to be understood in opposition to something else. For some dang reason, the ego prefers to make one side better than the other, and so we choose, and we decide. Males are better than females. America is better than Canada. Democrats are better than Republicans. And for most people, once this decision is made, it's amazing the amount of blindness they become capable of. They really don't see what's right in front of them. And once you see this, it's an amazing breakthrough, and that is the starting place for moving away from dualistic thinking. Another way to describe this is black or white thinking. And this kind of thinking is one of the main barriers to us becoming our true selves. It's a way of thinking that begins with comparison. We humans love to compare, don't we? For example, we own a car. Inevitably, we're tempted to compare it with another person's car. Or that comparison leads then to a judgment. We think that our car is not as good as another friend's car. Or we take comfort in knowing that our car is better than others. Comparison is the beginning of dualistic thinking. Dualistic thinking happens at the subconscious level of our minds. We really don't know that we're doing it. For example, we see a disheveled man on the corner holding up a cardboard sign asking for help. What's going on in our minds at the subconscious level? Well, if we're honest, sometimes we compare them to hardworking people. And with a bit of anger, we wonder, why can't they just get a real job? We walk through the store noticing other people. And subconsciously, we are putting them into categories. Well, why can't that obese person lose weight? That person is ugly. That one's pretty. I could be with that person. That one's out of my league. Did you ever watch the Oscars? What happens the next morning on television? So-called fashion experts tell us which movie stars, mostly women, wore good or bad outfits, dresses. Dualistic thinking is pervasive in this society. But here's the thing, friends. This is not how God operates. It is not how God thinks. God's thinking is not dualistic. It is unifying. In fact, everything that God does in the world is to bring that which is broken, that which is fragmented, that which is separated into a place of oneness and healing. It is very important that we understand this truth. Dualism divides not only our thoughts, it divides people. Dualism separates people into this category and that one, and if we're truly honest with ourselves, we engage in this kind of separation, often without knowing we are doing so. But let us remember the lesson of Proverbs. The ability to see or hear something and not be quick to judge is the mark of a spiritually wise person. And I don't have to tell you that our nation is deeply divided. We are not, as a nation, being spiritually wise. Our technology, I'm sure people smarter than me can analyze our technology, but I think about it a lot. I love science. I love the creativity of the human imagination to come up with all kinds of inventions. But it seems to be that our technology continues to be pushed by two principles. Number one, let's make things easier. Right? Makes sense. Some of you are old enough to remember life without microwave ovens. Right? These new machines, when they came out, were touted as ways to save us all time. But do we ever think today about the time that microwave ovens save us? No. We have accepted them into our everyday lives. We simply now are living with this new reality where microwave ovens are a normal part of our kitchens. So, technology is pushed by let's make things easier. I think it's also pushed by let's help people live faster. Easier and faster. We see this with our smart devices. We expect now every new cell phone or laptop or tablet to be faster than the last one. But has this life with our technology made life simpler, more joyful, with all the time we are saving? No, I don't think so. Nowadays, if our devices don't boot up in 10 seconds or less, we get impatient and cranky. 20 years ago, 10 seconds would have been lightning speed. Not anymore. What's changed? We have become addicted to the speed of our technology. With social media sites like Facebook and Twitter, we don't seem to be able to use the time that we save to truly listen to each other. Instead, we unfollow or unfriend all of the people who don't buy into our biases. We surround ourselves with news outlets that reinforce our biases and create an environment where we cannot truly suspend judgment and listen to each other. Next Sunday is first Sunday in Advent, and I want to tell you that my intention is to give up Facebook. It's not that big a deal. It's only for a month, right? But I want to know if I'm addicted to it, because I think I am. I have not counted how many times I've referred to Facebook throughout my day, but I'm going to find out because I want to enjoy a more spacious Christmas. I'd rather do some reading instead of checking my Facebook feed. I want to enjoy a spacious Christmas where I can carve out time to give up dualistic judgments, one where I can simply be in the unifying presence of God. So let's return to our courtroom. Who would have thought that grace would be present in our courts of law? But it is our legal system that draws a distinct line between evidence-based thinking and biased thinking. And as Christians, we would do well to live out this truth. Yes, there is a place for judgment, but for most of us, most of the time, a faithful life is one where we hold in our minds more than one answer to a question. Because in the end, it is not our opinions that matter. It's not our judgment. It's grace. Because God is in the business of raising up spiritually wise people. Amen. Well, friends, it's early. We have time, so as we move into our offering, I'm going to let you know we're going to have a talk back afterwards. Let's continue our worship.